So what happens when the thunderous roar of motorsport's past literally collides with the electric hum of its future? We're going to dive into that because, that's exactly what's happening in Madrid, where two completely different worlds of racing are meeting on one legendary track.
On one hand, you've got that iconic soul-shaking roar of a Formula One engine, a sound that just defined the glory days of the 70s and 80s, echoing through the hills. But on the other, you have the quiet, almost sci-fi hum of Formula E's all-electric Gen 3 cars. And this isn't just about two different sounds, right? It's about two totally different philosophies of what racing can be.
Right, so to really get why this is such a big deal, we have to start with the legacy. We need to talk about the hallowed ground that is the El Jarama Circuit.
Let's hop in a time machine and go back to 1967. This is when the historic El Jarama Circuit first opened its gates just outside Madrid. And it wasn't just a track. It instantly became this magnet, a real hub for racing enthusiasts of the era.
But El Jarama's real golden era, that kicked off in the 70s and 80s. This is when it became home to the Formula One Spanish Grand Prix. We're talking the absolute pinnacle of motorsport. Just imagine the world's greatest drivers battling it out on this legendary asphalt. And now, that very same ground is becoming something else entirely. A bridge to the future of racing.
And believe me, this was no ordinary track. Its layout was famous for being technically brutal, a place known for intense battles on its tight corners. It was a circuit that demanded absolute skill and pinpoint precision from the very best. This place is just steeped in racing history.
Okay, so while all that history was being made, a completely different idea for motorsport was quietly starting to take shape, one born from a really bold new experiment.
And that experiment, well, it didn't roar to life. It hummed to life. Back in 2014, the city of Beijing hosted the very first Formula E race, kicking off a brand new all-electric chapter for motorsport.
You see, Formula E's original mission was, it was radical from the get-go. This wasn't about using traditional tracks at all. The whole point was to promote electric cars by racing on temporary city circuits, bringing the action right into the heart of urban centers. It was all about showing how electric mobility could cut down on pollution and noise.
But what started as this wild experiment, it didn't stay on the fringes for long. Formula E evolved, and it evolved fast, racing to establish itself as a totally credible and technologically advanced series.
I mean, the technological leap has been absolutely massive. The early cars struggled with power and battery life, so much so that drivers literally had to jump out and switch cars mid-race. But today's Gen 3 cars? A whole different animal. We're talking way more speed, much longer range, and, this is crucial, super fast charging that's a total game changer.
And things are getting serious when the big players show up. When brands like Mercedes, Porsche, and Jaguar throw their hats in the ring, the series is a major contender. And their involvement has just put development into overdrive.
The series also got really creative with how fans get involved. Take Fan Boost, for example. It's a totally unique feature where you, the fans, can actually vote to give your favorite driver an extra burst of power during the race. It's a direct line from the audience to the action on the track.
So all of this brings us right back to Madrid, where these two very different stories, the historic roar and the futuristic hum, are finally coming together. The past is literally meeting the future on the same stretch of asphalt.
Which, brings up a really good question. Why bring a series built for city streets to a classic, permanent Formula One circuit? Why bring the future to a monument of the past?
Well, the answer is all about building a symbolic bridge. This event isn't about replacing the incredible legacy of Formula One, not at all. It's about connecting that rich history to a future that's all about clean energy and innovation.
And for the city of Madrid itself, man, the benefits are huge. By hosting this, it's not just putting sustainable tech on a world stage, it's also pulling in a whole new younger generation of fans. And that means a major boost for the local economy, for tourism, all while cementing Madrid's status as a key player on the global racing map.
So what does this whole convergence at El Jarama tell us about the future of racing itself? It suggests there's a new sound, and maybe even a new philosophy for what speed can be.
Here's the bottom line, the big takeaway from all this. The future of racing isn't about erasing its past. What this event in Madrid proves is that tradition and innovation can, and absolutely should, coexist. It's about creating new, exciting experiences while still honoring the incredible legacy of the sport we love.
Which leaves us with one final big question to think about. Madrid is showing us one possible path forward.
But across the entire world of motorsport, will the roar of the past and the hum of the future truly learn to race together? I guess only time will tell.